Welcome back to the channel for another video on our 22 WRX. This week we're going to be installing the IAG and Nostrum high pressure fuel pump. So let's jump over to the bench, we'll talk a little bit more and I'll show you the pump. Let's go. All right, so over here at the bench, I have the high pressure fuel pump laid out here. Now it is pretty nice, they do come with instructions here and I did just briefly look through them and we will go through them together. But I'm pretty sure these are just the, I don't want to say generic instructions, but these are the generic instructions for removing both the pump and the injector. So there are some things that I don't think we need to do since we're not going to be doing the injectors. We're just going to be doing the pump. So you can see the pump is down here. Looks like on number 21 they're taking it off. But anyways, we'll look at this a little bit more once we start actually doing the install. But it is very nice. They do give you a pretty detailed install instructions right here. Obviously here's the pump. You get a good look at it. So they got some dates on it. Flip it around. And it looks pretty nice. So it's supposed to be just a direct drop-in, plugs right into the OEM connector, bolts right into the stock location. So everything should just be like direct plug and play. So the pump is located over here on the driver's side. So since we have a front mount, we do have our intercooler pipe directly in the way, but we will need to take off the silver plate, this black plate, and then right underneath that should be our high pressure fuel pump. So we are just going to remove the intercooler pipe. We'll probably just remove the battery just so we can get more space. And then it should be as easy as unclipping one of the hose lines, unclipping one of the sensors, and then there is one hard line that we do need to break loose, and we should be able to just take that off. And the pump should just come right out. There should be two bolts just holding it on. So it should be as simple as that. Now, the instructions do say we have to remove the manifold, the intake manifold. I really hope we don't need to, but if we do, we will. But we're going to try to just take off these brackets here and see if we can access the pump that way. So after everything is done and installed, the biggest question a lot of people have is, do you need a tune? And to answer that, I don't really know. Now, the instructions say that there is no tune required. And I do believe IAG that if they state that there's no tune required for doing only the pump, then I believe that. I know if you do injectors, you do have to scale the injectors and that requires some ECU tuning. But as far as the pump, I do not believe that there is tuning required. But that being said, I am going to be sending logs to Mikey once we get this installed, and he is going to confirm that everything is working perfect as it should, and if there are any adjustments needed, I will report back to you guys, but the instructions say no tune required. I believe IAG, but we will test that out once we send some logs out. But enough talking, let me get you guys set up. We'll get the intercooler piping off. We'll get the battery off, and then I'll catch up with you guys before we take these two brackets off. We'll locate where those bolts are to take that off. But yeah, let me get you guys set up. We'll get this like basic stuff taken off, and then we'll check out the new stuff. Let's go. All right, so we have our intercooler pipe off and we took our battery out. So on the instructions that IAG provided, we're looking at number 11. So it says that we're just skipping right to 11, and it says take off the primary fuel pipe protector, and then 12 is remove the secondary fuel pipe protector. So that is the silver and the black like shield that you see here, And it's very nice in the instructions. It shows you that there's only 2 for the silver piece. Very accessible. This is your AC compressor, so looking over here, it's just 1 and 2, easily accessible from the top. We should be able to wiggle that thing out. And then for the black piece, the black shield, we have 1, 2, 3. So you can see those clearly right there as well, just labeled. Well, just looking at the instructions, you can see directly where they are on the car. So let's get these 2 shields taken off, and let's see if we can see the pump, because the next few steps, they do want you to remove the manifold, and there are a bunch of other steps to do that. So I want to see if we can access the pump right here. So let's get these taken off and let's check it out. All right, so we were able to get both those brackets off and expose our high pressure fuel pump. So I did just unclip the harness right here on the intake manifold, and I could just pull this insulation back, and you can see we have 1 bolt here, our sensor, the clip, and then if you can see down there, move this harness out, you can kind of see our high pressure line there. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to get to that line right now. There's not very much access right now. Same thing with that back bolt, not much access now. So I'm gonna try to move some stuff around. I do have a long extension for the Allen. So we'll get to that right now. Let's go. All right, so to catch you guys up on what's going on, I ended up taking off this coolant line that goes to our factory oil cooler here just to give us some more room. I was able to break our high pressure fuel line loose, and I was able to get both of our bolts holding the pump on. So all that's left is to unclip our blue clip, and it should be, there are these clips on the bottom, and it should just spring up. So I probably need 2 hands to get that. And this should just be a clip. Yep, easy enough with 1 hand. So literally all that's left is take this clip off, and then I can just actually take these out because they're just hand tight right now. And then we should be able to just pull the pump off, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison with the IAG one. Now it has kind of escalated a little bit, so it was pretty tough to get this one broken loose. This one was very, very tight. So I actually ran to the store and grabbed a new set of T40 bits, and shout out to Smedia. I used his valve grinding compound hack. He uses this on the cam gear bolts on the EJ because if it's a fresh motor that's never been taken apart, the cam gear bolts, the Allen bolts, sometimes they strip. So he puts the valve grinding compound inside the bolt hole, and that just helps give it some more friction or surface area to just grab on and break loose without stripping or messing up the bolt. So put that on this outside bolt, and it came off right away. And the inside one, no issue. I just did it straight from the beginning with the valve grinding compound, and it just came right out. So shout out Smedia. That is a hack tip trick for the day that actually works. So very cool about that. But let me get you guys set up. We'll get this pump taken off. It should just be as easy as unclipping this one line and then just unscrew that and everything else is loose. We'll do a side-by-side. I'll clean up the bench a little bit for us. We'll do a side-by-side with the new pump and then we'll get it installed. Let's go. All right, so the stock pump is on the right and the IAG pump is on the left. We have it finally taken out, and just to confirm, we did not have to remove the intake manifold. The only thing we really had to take off, I guess, was those brackets, and then I did take this hose off. It goes right there just to get it out of the way. We were able to get it taken out. And then, of course, the battery, just so we have a bunch of extra room. But looking over here, they look basically identical. I mean, all the fittings are the same. I even compared the pistons, and those are exactly the same as well as far as diameter, but you can see the IAG or Nostrum one has kind of a dish there, and this is kind of flat. So I'm not sure if that's by design or if that's just a different model, but that's basically it. So let's do this in reverse. There is a little O-ring here, so make sure you lube up the O-ring and we'll get it slid in, and hopefully everything just bolts back up the way that the stock one came out. But let me get you guys set up. If I have any hiccups, I'll let you guys know, but let me get it back installed. We'll get our first start in and we'll see if the car's acting funny. We're still going to be sending the logs to Mikey in a few days once he's available, and we'll check to see if we actually do need a tune. But yeah, let me get you guys set up. We'll get this thrown in. Let's go. All right, so everything is all buttoned up now. We have our intercooler pipe back on and our battery in. Everything's all plugged back in, coolant hose put back on. The only thing that we didn't put back on was the big black bracket. This thing does have quite a bit of weight to it. I did put the bolts back in their spots, the 3 bolts, one here, here, and then this like twisty one right here. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. And then this is where one of the clips for the harness was. So this really didn't serve any purpose. Looking at the engine bay, I mean, you can't even tell if it was there or not, but didn't want to put it back on. Just no point to really. Got a little bit of weight reduction, I guess. But yeah, everything's all done. Everything's all buttoned up. I did get the shiny bracket back on, and this is where the black one was. So the pump, you can not really see it. You can't see it at all, actually, but it's under this foam piece here. We were able to get the pump on, obviously, without taking the intake manifold off. So that is a big success, big win. So the instructions do say prime the fuel system like 5 or 6 times and then attempt to start it. So we're gonna do that. The way to like attempt to start it is if you hold the gas pedal, wide open throttle, and try to start it, it's only going to crank, it's not going to start. Just keep your foot to the floor and it will not start. So we're gonna prime it a few times and then we're gonna attempt to start and we'll see if we can get our first start in. And after this, today is what, Tuesday? So we will, on Thursday or Friday, we're going to send some logs to Mikey just to see if everything looks good, but we're gonna get it started. We're gonna see what's going on. The instructions say that no tune is required for this pump, but let's get it primed, let's get it started, let's go. All right, so it's been a few days since we had the high pressure fuel pump installed. I'm not really sure what was going on with those audio clips at the end when we got the car started up. I actually did make a little like closing, like a little thing from that day, but the audio just didn't work. So it's just like me talking to nothing. So after I went to review that, I see that there was no audio, so here we are. So it has been a few days. I have driven the car a bunch of times, and honestly, I don't think that you need a tune. Like it runs and drives exactly the same. I don't know if it's placebo or not, but like it definitely feels like there's like a little bit more low end grunt, spools up the turbo a little bit better. And just like watching the high pressure fuel pump, I wish I watched it and logged it before. But watching it now, like at like basically any RPM, when I go wide open throttle, the fuel pressure goes to essentially like 3,000 PSI of fuel, which is somewhere around where it should be. I think it's like 2,900 and change is where it's supposed to be at. So it just goes right up to that number, and it never like tapers down or never really goes down from there. But I am going to be sending some logs to Mikey. And I'll report back if there's anything going on as far as tune goes. Now, we do have some more parts that came in that we will be installing over the next couple weeks. We have a Funk Motorsports G3900 turbo blanket to install, and then we have the oil cooler. And we will talk more about which oil cooler I got, but put in the comments below of what you think we have over here. And I'll see you guys next week. Till next time, see ya.